Hi, this is Brian Venton here from Townsville, North Queensland. This video is one of three called Australia Divided or Australia United. Now, I haven't done any political commentary since the 22 election, but felt compelled in recent weeks to put some thoughts out there for discussion. Coupled with the prospect of a referendum on an Aboriginal voice in Parliament, it's prompted me to do these three videos. In this video I want to suggest what I consider to be some of the issues that potentially are dividing us as a nation. First, our party political system tends to create partisan political outcomes. It's been in operation since about 1910 and over that period has become increasingly agenda-driven, dividing people across the country along party lines. Then, as long as my party wins on election day, then most people disconnect from the political discourse between elections. I would argue that political parties and their accompanying decision-making structures are not serving us very well like they once did. Second, I suggest that the 22 federal election highlighted yet again the glaring deficiencies in our preferential voting system for the lower house and our proportional preference voting system for the upper house. These systems have been in use since around 1917 and always seem to favour certain electoral outcomes, that is, a party preferred result, and it's virtually impossible to break the monopolising outcomes that this system has created. Coupled with the reality that a government can end up in power with such a small primary vote has become bewildering to many. Occasionally an independent or a minority party candidate may get elected, but their vote invariably ends up being of little consequence on the floor of Parliament. In my view, we need to review the effectiveness of both the preferential voting system in the lower house and the proportional voting system in the upper house. Third, it's become increasingly apparent that our state governments are also not serving us as well as they used to. They have become extremely partisan, and the election promise that we will govern for everyone is decidedly becoming questionable. They are also mostly city-centric and can too easily legislate to entrench their power long term. And it's probably time to have a good look at the effectiveness of state governments and how they serve each state. Fourth, and this is not easy for me to say, but I think our constitutional monarchy in Australia has probably reached its use-by date. Our heads of state structure has itself become weaponised and appears to be little more than a rubber stamp for partisan politics. Now, I know it has a role, but it is probably time for review. Fifth, what we've gone through over the past 3 years has torn families and communities apart, and it's made us all wonder who really is in control of our country and for what purpose. Sixth, whilst in my view all of the above have created pressure points for division in our nation, the capstone of real divisions are the issues surrounding our Aboriginal peoples. Consider these points. As a nation, we've failed to resolve the ongoing tensions between our Aboriginal communities and that of our Crown roots and constitutional monarchy. Then, we've had a continuing tent embassy in Canberra for 51 years, advocating for Aboriginal nationhood. Then, strangely, when you consider all that the Australian government has tried to do over the years, even back into the early 1800s, to somehow create pathways to harmony, those efforts consistently seem to miss the mark in coming up with acceptable solutions. In saying that, I don't want to diminish the wrongs, but the good things haven't seemed to work. Tensions are running as high as ever. Then also, and this is important, even within the so-called sovereign nation movement itself, there is division, argument and mistrust between who represents who and why. Then there is a broader public wariness and a questioning of the agendas surrounding Aboriginal narratives and who is a bona fide Aboriginal. Since the 1971 census, the number of people identifying as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islanders has risen from 116,000 to over 800,000. A 590% increase. Something seems very odd about that statistic. There are activists and there are other activists, and it's hard to know who to trust and believe because motives are never really clear or transparent. I suggest this unresolved conflict of our mutual histories needs to be resolved once and for all, lest we become irreconcilable as a nation. I've been thinking how our national woundedness can be healed and how the pressure points in our political system and decision-making processes can be resolved. There has to be a better way forward. My suggestion is that if we want to make nationwide change happen, then we probably can only do that by holding a constitutional referendum. Now, I know that raises red flags, but hear me out. to hold a referendum and create a constitution that acknowledges our shared past histories and then adopt a new model of governance that we can all embrace and move forward together with. To enact a constitution that affords equal voice to all citizens, either born here or of an immigrant to this land, irrespective of ethnicity, language, culture and tribal background. To create a constitution that reflects the will of the people, formed by the people. And note, created not by a party, nor a politician, nor an activist player, but created by the people, that favours no person above another and treats all persons as equals. A new beginning, a new start for all, a fresh approach to governance in our nation that draws people together without agenda nor bias for the good of all. Can we do something like that? In my next video I want to explore why I think a referendum is important. Then in the third video suggest what model of governance could work for us. Thanks for watching. Bye.